Hey everyone, welcome to 59 Tops Friday, presented by Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. We built the iconic 1959 Topps baseball set, and in this series we're going through every card to talk about the people, players, and teams who made up Major League Baseball in 1959. Today we'll cover cards 228 through 235 in the set. Card number 228 belongs to Don Gross of the Pittsburgh Pirates. 1959 was his sixth year in the big leagues. Gross was a left-handed pitcher, but he wasn't born that way. At the age of 7, Gross said he broke his right arm after it got caught in a washing machine, and he switched to throwing left-handed. The Reds signed him ahead of the 1950 season, and after 2 years in the military, he eventually debuted for Cincy in 1955. Gross never gained a foothold on the Red staff, mostly due to injury. The Pirates traded him ahead of the 1958 season, and he pitched parts of 2 years there. Gross pitched parts of 6 MLB seasons in total, throwing 398 innings with a 3.73 ERA. After baseball, he worked in sporting goods in the Cincinnati area. Card number 229 belongs to Vic Power of the Cleveland Indians. 1959 was the 6th MLB season for Power. He was a solid all-around first baseman for his 12 years in the majors, hitting over 300 3 times in the 1950s. He made 6 All-Star teams and won 7 straight Gold Gloves, and most crucially, was an important trailblazer as an MLB star from Puerto Rico. Power was originally signed by the Yankees, but they traded him to the A's in 1953, and he debuted for them in MLB the next year. He made his first AL All-Star team in 1955 and finished 9th in AL MVP voting after he hit .319. Power hit .309 the next year and was again an All-Star. During the 1958 season, Power was traded to the Indians as part of the deal that sent Roger Maris to the A's. Power won his first AL Gold Glove that season, and he'd win the next 6 in a row. Power was one of the hardest men in baseball to strike out. In 6,461 career MLB plate appearances, he struck out just 247 times, a 3.8% rate. Power was traded to the Twins in 1962 and then to the Angels in 1964, and then he rounded out his career with the Phillies and then another stint with the Angels. He then scouted Puerto Rico for the Angels, ran youth baseball clinics there, and managed the Caguas team in the Puerto Rican Baseball League. Card number 230 belongs to Bill Fischer of the Washington Senators. This was the 4th MLB season for Fischer. Over the course of a 9-year career pitching in the majors, Fischer was a journeyman, appearing for the White Sox, Tigers, Senators, A's, and Twins. His most notable achievement pitching in MLB was an 84 1/3 inning walkless streak in 1962 that shattered Christy Mathewson's previous record of 68. But Fischer is remembered much more for a 4+ decade career working in the game as a scout, pitching coach, and consultant after he stopped pitching. A born leader and instructor who served as a drill sergeant in the Army before he made MLB, Fischer worked in the scouting and minor league pitching development departments for the Royals in the 1970s and then became the Reds pitching coach in 1979. In 1985, he became the Red Sox pitching coach, a role he kept through 1991. Fischer helped develop young arms like Roger Clemens, Bruce Hurst, and Oil Can Boyd into the rotation that won the 1986 American League pennant. Fischer also worked in the minors for the Braves and later became the Rays pitching coach in 2000. He was still working in baseball as a senior pitching advisor for the Royals in 2015, his 68th year in professional baseball. Fischer passed away 3 years later. Card number 231 belongs to Ellis Burton of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1959 would have been Burton's second season in the big leagues, although he did not play in any major league games that year. Burton played 5 non-consecutive years in the big leagues for the Cardinals, Indians, and Cubs. He batted .216 with 17 home runs and 59 RBIs in 215 games. He would also play 11 years in the minors for 10 different teams. Burton was almost killed in a near-fatal car accident after high school, but this did not stop him from pursuing professional baseball. On August 31st, 1963, in a game for the Cubs against the Houston Colt 45s in the bottom of the 9th, the Cubs trailed 5-2 with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Burton hit a walk-off grand slam on the first pitch reliever Hal Woodeshick threw to him. It was the Cubs' first grand slam of the season. It was especially sweet for Burton, who had been in spring training with the Colt 45s and then through a series of trades and other deals ended up with the Cubs. It's the kind of stuff that baseball fans live for. Burton would also go on to hit home runs from both sides of the plate in a single game, a feat few players have achieved. Following his career in the big leagues, Burton went on to be a bank manager, and he passed away in 2013 at the age of 77. Card number 232 belongs to Eddie Casco of the Cincinnati Redlegs. 1959 was Casco's third season in the big leagues. He spent time with the Cardinals, Reds, Colt 45s, and Red Sox. He was known as a strong defensive shortstop and third baseman. After playing multiple years in the minor leagues and completing military service, Casco debuted in the major leagues in 1957. He was selected for the 1961 National League All-Star team. The same year, he would appear in the World Series for the Reds, who would lose to the Yankees that year. In 1965, he was named the Colt 45's first-team captain, where he was recognized for leadership and some mayhem in the club. It was reported that his entire body was once wrapped up on a trainer's table like a mummy, wearing a fright wig in the dugout, and shadow boxing with a towel around his neck the day after a tussle. Casco was traded to the Red Sox for Felix Mantilla, where Casco would end his playing career, which he attributed to back, bone chip, and knee issues. Recognizing his acumen for the sport of baseball, the Red Sox kept Casco on to manage the AAA Toronto Maple Leafs, and Casco went on to manage the Red Sox from 1970 to 1973. After ending his time as manager, he would go on to work in various roles in the Red Sox organization for 20 years. He was inducted into the Red Sox Hall of Fame in 2010, and he passed away in 2020 at the age of 88. Card number 233 belongs to Paul Foytak of the Detroit Tigers. 1959 was Foytak's sixth season in the big leagues. Foytak was a right-handed pitcher who split his non-consecutive major league years between the Tigers and Angels, and he made his MLB debut with a short stint for the Tigers in 1953. Foytak is remembered for a few somewhat ignominious accomplishments during his MLB career. He led the AL in walks allowed in 1956 and earned runs allowed in 1959. In 1963, he became the first pitcher in MLB history to allow home runs to 4 consecutive batters. Foytak finished his professional career with the Chunichi Dragons in Japan in 1965. Foytak worked in plastics in the Detroit area after his retirement from baseball, and he also spent time as a batting practice instructor for the Tigers. Foytak died in 2021 at the age of 90. Card number 234 belongs to Chuck Tanner of the Chicago Cubs. This was the 5th MLB season for Tanner. As a player, Tanner appeared in parts of 8 seasons with the Braves, Cubs, Indians, and Angels. He mostly played left field and had a .261 average in 396 big league games. But Tanner had a much more notable career as a big league manager. He was first hired as a manager by the White Sox late in 1970, and he stayed through the next 5 up and down seasons there. After one season managing the A's to a second place finish in 1976, Tanner took over a strong Pirates squad in 1977, winning 96 games in his first year. In 1979, Tanner's Pirates were the talk of Major League Baseball, and the We Are Family Bucks won 98 games, the NL pennant, and then overcame a 3-1 deficit to beat the Orioles in the World Series. Tanner managed 9 seasons in Pittsburgh and then spent parts of 3 seasons as the Braves skipper. Tanner later worked in baseball through the rest of his life with the Brewers, Indians, and Pirates. Card number 235 belongs to Valmy Thomas of the Philadelphia Phillies. 1959 was his 3rd MLB season. Although he was born in Puerto Rico, Thomas hailed from the island of St. Croix, and he was the first Major League Baseball player from the Virgin Islands when he debuted for the Giants in 1957. In parts of 5 MLB seasons, Thomas appeared in 252 games and batted .230 with 12 home runs for the Giants, Phillies, Orioles, and Indians, mostly as a backup catcher. Thomas played a few more years in the minors and then returned to St. Croix, where he served as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Conservation and Cultural Affairs. Card number 236 belongs to Ted Bowsfield of the Boston Red Sox. 1959 was the 2nd big league season for Bowsfield. Born in British Columbia, Canada, the southpaw-tossing Bowsfield signed with the Red Sox for $4,000 and spent a few years in the minors before debuting with the Red Sox in 1958. He did not make much of an impact for the Bo Sox and was traded to Cleveland in 1960. The Angels grabbed Bowsfield in the expansion draft ahead of their first season in 1961, and he had a 3.73 ERA and 157 innings for them that year. Bowsfield pitched his final 2 MLB seasons for the A's in 1963 and 64. After his playing career, Bowsfield enjoyed many years working in sports facilities and operations management, including as the first head of the Seattle Kingdom when it opened in 1976. As of this recording, Bowsfield is 89 years old and will turn 90 in January of 2025. That's going to do it for this edition of 59 Tops Friday on Wax Pack Wisdom. Today's episode was written by Abby O'Donnell and Jake T. O'Donnell. Do you have a story about one of the people, players, or teams we discussed today? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Wax Pack Wisdom content. In the video description, you will find our source material for this episode, links to where you can follow us on all social media channels, as well as a list of our favorite nonprofits and charities. Please consider a donation to one of them if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.